Well taken over the shoulder from Bowden Barrett. He's got support with him should they choose to run, and they sort of need to. 2 scores down inside 3 minutes, and they've lost possession again here. And look who's just going to dink it in behind. Melvin Jaminet chasing! Jaminet!
France is perhaps the most underachieving rugby nation in the world. The sport is very popular in the country, and they are the most populous of all the Tier 1 nations. Despite this, they have never actually won a World Cup, and they have only won the Six Nations 5 times in the last 20 years. That is, until this man took charge. Fabien Galthie has turned the national team into a feared one that has been very dominant for some years now. What's scary is that trajectory is likely to continue. France has the most dominant under-20s team of all time as the result of years of proper planning and investments in the grassroots game. And these young players will further bolster the already ridiculous depth that they do have. Furthermore, the domestic game is in incredible financial health, allowing thousands of professional players to ply their trade with the hopes of making the national team. Today, we'll look at what makes this France team so fearsome from a tactical perspective and see what other teams can do to counter them. Let's start with the strongest part of the game, which is their kicking. France are the absolute best team in the world at kicking. They manage to push back and punish teams in very short periods, and they can completely change the momentum of a match in a matter of seconds. This is because their backline is absolutely stacked with world-class kicking threats. At any given moment, there are at least 3 or 4 players on the pitch that can exploit whatever weakness might present itself through kicking. Remember that in rugby, no aspect of the sport stands alone. Kicking, attacking, defending, set plays, and overall game management are all intertwined with each other at the same time. You can switch to and make changes in any of these areas that you want, whenever you want. When France is attacking, for example, the defense isn't just concerned with tackling the ball carriers and closing gaps. They have to make sure that their entire territory is covered properly at the same time. In my opinion, this is the fundamental thing that makes France so good. While teams like Ireland and the All Blacks build up pressure and threats through great attacking or solid defending, France's threat is always looming overhead. If teams make even a small mistake, they can easily find themselves deep in their own half under huge amount of pressure through kicking. What this means is that it's extremely hard for teams to play the game that they want to play. They can't make any compromises because if there is a mistake, then they are, well, compromised, and France will pounce on any weakness in a heartbeat. France still has weaknesses that can be exploited, but teams have to earn it by being very accurate in the basic areas of the game. France's kicking philosophy seems to primarily focus on getting the ball into space. They want to take control away from their opposition's kickers, so it doesn't make sense to kick the ball directly to a player. Furthermore, their kicks are accompanied by strong chase lines, not necessarily to win the ball back, but to force their opponents to make very quick decisions. France don't really put up many pressure-based kicks because they want chaos in their opponent's structure. Pressure-based kicks are the opposite of this, where teams will have a lot more order when executing these tactics. Let's look at some stats to show you how amazingly effective this strategy is. In the South African World Cup game, the Springboks spent a massive 43% of the time in their own 22, while France only spent 16% in their own. In the New Zealand game, it was even worse, with the All Blacks spending a colossal 47% of the time in their own 22, with France only spending 21% in their own. I think that every other area of the strategy is built around this core philosophy of exploitative kicking, but we'll just focus on 2 for now, those being their attack and their defense. France's attack is really interesting, in that it doesn't follow conventional attacking patterns that we usually see. Their attack focuses on sucking in defenders with speed and aggression, not necessarily precision and pressure. As such, their attack tends to be pretty structureless on many occasions. They will try to exploit gaps, however small, close to the ruck as much as possible. This leads to defenses losing their structure quite quickly because they have no choice but to adjust, leaving acres of space to exploit. Another interesting aspect to their attack is the freedom that is given to many of their backline players. For example, you will frequently see Damien Penaud running across the field in search of a weakness in the defensive line. On defense, France focus on being dominant in contact. They have many big and athletic forwards, and this gives them a lot of opportunities to stop their opponent's momentum. When their opponents don't have any momentum, they are forced to kick the ball to France, where they have the edge. One drawback to this defensive system is that it gives their opponents more counter-attacking threats because they kick so much. So to recap, France's main strength is their kicking game, both territorially and on attack. What allows them to do this is their abundant access to world-class kickers. They put these kickers in good situations, both on attack and defense, which allows them to have massive momentum swings throughout their games. If you like this video and would like to see more tactical analysis, then you can watch my Ireland preview. And if you'd like to see more videos, then please consider liking and subscribing, as it helps the channel a lot. See you next time.